Okay, welcome to another edition of Lion News. Lion News can be found at lionnews00.blogspot.com. Today is Thursday, January 13th, 2011. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about this flyer right here. If you've been on my website, you've seen this one before. It's the one dealing with the malicious arrest and home invasion of myself on July 20th, 2007. Okay? And you can see what the requirements for a warrant are on here, which of course is the name, judge's name, and signature. We're going to get to an example, an official example here in just a minute, but this is a flyer that's already been handed out earlier this summer to a guy who was running for auditor, and haven't heard a word from Timmy. You know, I thought that this guy would have handed it off to Timmy and goes, hey, what's going on with this, Timmy? You know, maybe you want to sue this guy or have him arrested. But haven't heard a word from Timmy at all. In fact, been awful quiet on Timmy's side there. So, this is like I said, the flyer that we got. So now we're going to talk about the actual example that I've got from another website here. It's called lawcollective.org. And again, like I said, actually my other flyer that I just was showing you, it's based on this information. So I know that you need to have, for an arrest warrant, you need to have the name, signature, and judge's name, which of course is on this form. Okay, here it gives the name, age, height, weight, you know, description of the person. Okay, date, whatever, and then there's a part for the return. Okay, that you don't find that on the, at least the one that I was maliciously arrested with. So we're just gonna, this, like I said, just a generic form there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the actual phony piece of paper that they came to my door with on July 20th of 2007. Okay, and you're going to see that none of these, well, one of the elements is there. Okay, 1 out of 3 ain't bad. Sorry, need all 3. And this is what they showed up with. All right, here it is. See, it says recommendation of supervisory agency and request for warrant. Doesn't say it's a warrant at all, does it? Nope, it says it's a recommendation and a request. Okay, there's my name on it, and look, Glenwood, Minnesota as my address. If you saw my other video, you saw the Glenwood Police Department can't even get my address right. Here, they've got it on this phony, they got a phony warrant with my address on there correct. Okay, funny how that can work. And suppose the other, that complaint, my defamation complaint, they can't get my address correct on that. So, here, that was page 1. Here's page 2 of this phony warrant. Okay, again, you can see it says recommendations. I respectfully recommend a warrant be issued for Terry Dean Numbers and that he be brought before the court to address the alleged violations of his probation. Okay? And this is dated the 23rd of July 2007. Wait a minute, 23rd? They showed up on the 20th. Are these guys from the future or something like that? They got in a time machine and came back into time to come to arrest me? Well, if that was the case, then they should have had the judge's signature and date on it then, shouldn't they? Okay? So who's this signed by? Deborah West, the crook from the director, Kansas County Community Corrections, Bob Tepfer, probation officer. Tepfer. Isn't there a slander stalker and a vigilante named Tepfer that's been hanging around my channel? Wonder if they're related. Okay, and then we'll get to page 3. This is a 3-page document. I guess I should have said that ahead of time. And look, here's page 3. Because we're still looking for that judge's signature. Okay, this is page 3. Order of the court. That the stay of execution is hereby annulled. Therefore, Terry Dean Numbers is to be apprehended by the sheriff, taken into custody, and brought before the court. Upon execution of this order, a copy of this recommendation and order of the court is to be served upon the defendant. Boy, that day I never got a copy of it. So Well, it's probably because there's no date or signature on it, so they didn't have to give me a copy then, right? Is that what the situation is? Because remember, it said need the my name, date, judge's signature, and two of the three are missing. And look, they don't even have it checked whether it's a Minnesota only warrant or a USA warrant. Oh, those details all the time. I guess that means that they maliciously arrested me. And I didn't know what the grounds of arrest were. Because it's against the law to not allow someone to know the grounds of arrest. In fact, it's a gross misdemeanor. You could spend a year in jail for doing that. And also, arrest without authority. That's another year in jail right here. Gross misdemeanor. For a public officer or one pretending to be a public officer knowingly and under the pretense of or color of law of any process to arrest a person or detain a person against the person's will, or to seize or levy upon any property, or to dispossess any one of lands or tenements without a regular process for those actions. Boy, they didn't have a warrant there. Sounds like that's another gross misdemeanor. Sounds like, boy, they're all in trouble. Okay? So, but you know what? Don't worry. Because, sooner or later, a judge's signature will end up on that piece of paper. And I'll show you. Here's that same piece of paper. They faxed it to Polk County for my second trumped up trial. Here's the first page. Okay. I circled the one on the other one. So that's why that's circled on this one or that one and not this one. Okay. And then we'll show you page. We'll go to page 2. Okay. Show you that's still the same page, or still the same thing, because it'll have the same dates on it. Okay. July 23rd, 2007. Okay, Deborah West and Bob Tepfer. Still on there as those guys. Okay. Now we'll show you page 3. Okay. See. Here comes the signature. Don't worry. They took care of it. They just made sure it got signed 5 days after I was arrested. See, let me read this again. The stay of execution is hereby annulled. Therefore, Terry Dean Nemmers is to be apprehended by the sheriff and taken into custody and brought before the court upon execution of this order. Well, that means I should have been arrested on the 25th, right? But see, I was already in custody for 5 days because I was maliciously arrested on the 20th. And look, now it's a USA warrant. Boy, I must have been a really bad criminal because, I probably was going to flee the country or something like that. And this is, here's the crook right here. I got a picture of the guy right here who signed it. Where are we at here? There he is. He came from the 7th Judicial District. They couldn't even get him from Coondrad. There we go. 7th Judicial District. Now, why did they have to haul in this guy from the 7th Judicial District? Well, it's probably because I had filed all those complaints against Spilseth and all the other judges in there. And remember, if you're familiar with my case here, Spilseth had to recuse himself. Okay? Signed by Frank J. Coondrad on the 25th. Okay? So, see, in order for them to arrest me, they needed to have a warrant signed on the 20th or before. But see, they just signed it on the 25th because, it's completely arbitrary, the laws, in Pope County and Candioi County. So they just make it up as they go along. And they, their fellow crooks will just cover for them. So, what's the difference? See? The only problem is, it's completely against the law, but, they don't care. Because they have the guns, they have the tons of thugs that'll help them do it, and they have the code of silence, so they'll cover it all up. See? And when I was arrested for that malicious arrest in July of 2009, Gary Wold was telling me that, well, they didn't really need a warrant, Well, is that true, Gary? Because it says right here, Minnesota Statute 611.01 says you need to have a warrant, and 629.402 says you need to have a warrant. See, it's always those little details. But see, what they'll do is they'll lie right to your face because cops are professional liars. They have absolutely no problem with throwing you in jail for no good reason at all, just because they're scum. I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, who would want to intentionally put someone in jail? I mean, you'd have to be evil to the core. See? I mean, you just trump up stuff and, because they can get away with it. And then here's the other statutes here. Minnesota 629.13, Minnesota Statute 625.03 are also examples that say that you have to have a warrant to put someone under arrest. See? But what they'd rather do is burglarize my home. See? Because let's look at the probable cause statement here, because this is really hilarious. Let's read this here first while we're here. Okay, this is from a book, Beat the Heat. Of course, it's important to make sure that the police do have an arrest warrant for you before leaving the safety of your home. If you answer the door and the police say, "Come on outside so we can talk to you," it's likely they do not have a warrant and are trying just to lure you out. Okay? And this is by Katya Komisaruk, attorney at law. Okay? So this is legal advice, okay, that she's giving in her book. So remember, she said they're going to ask you to come outside. Going to come outside, and if they're doing that, it's because they don't have a warrant. You know why? Because they don't need to have they can just pick you up if they have a warrant. They don't need to ask you to come outside. They'll just come into your house and get you. See? Polk County deputies James Ross, Forrest Erickson accompanied Agent Temford to that location, whereupon they were greeted by Nemers at the front door. Deputy Ross advised Nemers of their arrest warrant and instructed him to step outside the door. Well, why would you do that, Deputy Ross, if you had an arrest warrant? Then Deputy Ross attempted to open the screen door, but Nemers pulled the door closed and advised Deputy Ross that the deputy was under arrest for breaking and entering. Oh, why would I do that? Because Deputy Ross pulled out a piece of paper showing me that it had my name on it and a judge's signature and a date on it? No. See, because he tried to open the door. When they first came up, what did they do? They said, "Come on out." Okay? He grabs for the door, and then I tell him he's under arrest because he broke and entered. Okay? Then all of a sudden he pulls out this piece of paper. He says, "Oh, we got a warrant here." And I said, "Well, geez, you should have done that before." See? But if he'd done that before and shown me that it had no judge's signature on it and no date on it, I would have laughed in his face. See? Because I knew ahead of time they didn't have a warrant. See? That's the reality of the situation. See? But instead, they come up with this phony warrant claiming they got one, busting my place before they even say they got anything about the warrant. But then what do they have to do in the probable cause statement? They have to rewrite history. See? Because he didn't say he had a warrant when he came up to the door. No, that's not what happened. That's completely the opposite of what happened. Okay? Because he didn't pull it out till after he tried to break in my house. Or actually did break in the house. Okay? So, who were all the crooks who signed on to this thing? Well, let's take a look here. Who were the names on this thing? Okay, this is a probable cause statement, which means it's an affidavit. Well, told Timmy Riley, the guy who was the chief deputy at that time. I would think that he would know what a warrant is, requirements for a warrant. And look, it's signed on the 24th. So I would think, after 4 days they should be able to figure out if they had a warrant or not. And then here's old Chad Buddy, the guy who sent me a weapon into the Todd County Jail, which is, of course, is a felony. On the 24th, he signs this and says that was okay to bust in my house without a warrant. Okay, and who else? Okay, and who do we have here? Oh, it's the crook John Staffsholt. On the 24th, 4 days after they broke into my house, he says, go ahead. Well, geez, in judge school, didn't they teach you what you need for a warrant, Judgey? I guess not. See, so it's a lie from beginning to end. Perjury, perjury, perjury. See, false statement after false statement, and they misrepresented themselves and stole from the people and lied to the people and, claimed to be someone honest when they weren't. And that's what a bunch of crooks. See? So you people should be very, very, very scared about living in Polk County because it's just riddled with crooks, and they're the ones who are in charge. Okay? Thank you so much for your time.